So obviously this channel exists primarily as a place for me to talk about the books that I've been reading, and reading is something that I really love. I read a lot and it's absolutely my favorite hobby. However, I do have other hobbies, and one in particular has been taking a lot of my time as of late. If you look back at the history of this channel, I started it a few years ago as a gaming channel. I honestly thought I might make it big and go into being a full-time content creator on YouTube with gaming videos. Obviously that didn't happen, and I got burnt out from the effort I would put into those videos to try to make them as good as possible, while also being acutely aware that I didn't really know how to make good videos the ways that pros do. I returned to this channel a few months ago, not to get big, but as a way to talk about books. I do hope to find some community here, others to talk about what I'm reading, and they can tell me what they're reading. But this also functions as something of a reading journal. I hate reading books and then immediately forgetting what it was that I read, so I started making videos both to force myself to write down what I thought about the books I read, but also to say it and even be able to watch it back later if I wanted. These videos are lower effort than the videos I was making back in the day, but that is intentional. I don't really have time or a desire to spend hours and hours and hours editing together a really fancy video. These are kind of more raw and just something that I can throw together and post, and maybe people will see it, but if not, at least I've created something. Anyways, I've been in the middle of a book as of late, but it has been taking me a while to read it, even though it isn't a huge book like the last few that I've read. But I have been distracted by something else. And so I figured that if I might not have a new video on a book I've read, I can at least talk about what has been occupying my time instead. I know I am a little bit late to the party, but Slay the Spire 2 is a really fun game. As someone who loves board games, and especially deck builders, this game is right up my alley, and I want to tell you about the things that I like about it. I bought this game as a bundle with the first game, and played the first game for a while before moving up to the second. I think the first game is really solid, and since the second game is still in early access and getting updates regularly, the first game is a little bit more polished game. However, I would say that you really don't need to play the first game to get into the second one. So Slay the Spire is basically what you're seeing on the screen right now. You pick a character, and each character has a play style that will manifest in cards you get throughout a run. Slay the Spire is also a roguelike game, a genre of video games that is also very near and dear to my heart, with games like Dead Cells, which I have put hundreds of hours in over the years. So you take your character and try to climb as high as you can up the spire, floor after floor of combats, events, and shops. But instead of leveling up your character or collecting weapons, you're building a deck. You can find cards on most floors and add them to your deck, remove bad cards, get special effects, and things like that. As you add cards to your deck, you will get stronger and more capable in fights. At least that's the goal. If you pick up cards haphazardly or without much thought, you will end up with a bloated deck that doesn't really do a whole lot in the end. And then if you make it to the top and defeat the final boss, the game gets harder. You go back to the bottom of the spire and start again. Between the progression of unlocking new cards to find, the challenges of an increasingly harder spire, and the currently 5 characters to choose from, the gameplay is basically endless. One of the things I love about this game is that even as each character has their own playstyle, there are archetypes within each character. Maybe I want to build a star power deck with the Regent, but I pull a few strong Divine Blade cards early. Well, I guess I can try a new playstyle then. It's a game that wants you to adapt situations. You have control over your deck, but you can't just make certain cards appear. You have to be flexible and work with what you're given. I'm not really a gamer anymore per se. In the past I was, but as I've been at college and as my love of reading has increased lately, I have found less time to play games. And also less games appeal to me these days. That's why I think Slay the Spire 2 is special, and I wanted to make a video on it, because games that keep me invested this much don't come around as often as they used to. Slay the Spire 2 is easy to learn, hard to master, but fulfilling as you are pushed to master it. If it seems at all interesting to you, I would give it a try. But even if video games aren't your thing, or you just don't care for the kind of game that Slay the Spire is, there's something else that I want to draw out here. For a while, I thought that having a hobby I loved meant forsaking all others. Oh, you want to play video games? Leave reading behind. Starting a reading channel on YouTube? Never touch a video game again. Your task now is only to grind these pages out. But you can have more than one hobby, and it's okay to let one take center stage for a time as something exciting comes onto your radar. Have fun with your hobbies, and if you're feeling burnt out, do something else. I guess lastly, I'll say that I'm very excited to read, and honestly, the longer I've been pushing off the book I've been reading with Slay the Spire, the more I've been missing it. So I will be returning soon, and hopefully I will have an update on the latest book I've been reading for all of the 2 of you that watch my videos.
Let me know the cute bookshelf is mine and the ugly one is his. But I think that's probably obvious by what you talk about on your videos. Probably.